guys, today we are going to do two different projects. So this morning I had the pleasure of hanging out with my neighbor Smokey, and over the past 2 months or so she has been teaching me all things home winemaking. So our first batch of wine that we made together was a rhubarb wine. Let me show you. I've got, I think 5 or 6 bottles of rhubarb wine, and we did a little taste test. It's delicious. So that was our first batch. And last week, no, 2 weeks ago, we have been working on our mint wine. So I'm going to show you a video of that whole process from start to where we are right now, which is our first rack. And then in another week or so, we're either going to be doing another rack or bottling. And then we started today our batch of pear wine. So she ordered a bulk amount of pears, and so we're going to be doing that. I'm so excited to show you all the video footage of what I was able to capture. I didn't really intend this to be something that I would take video footage of. We were just having some fun making wine together, so it's pretty casual, and I'll try to just audibly walk you through our process for making our mint wine. In the meantime, once, maybe twice if I'm really on top of it, a year, I like to go ahead and oil and basically resaturate all of my wood items in my kitchen that I use on a regular basis. So I've got my stack of all my wood cutting boards and charcuterie boards here, and then I clearly have a large collection of wooden spoons, my salad stuff, and then I like to do the handles of my spatulas and my knives. So I'm going to just spend some time today on this lovely Sunday and work on it. I like to start off with my butcher block oil. So I use a microfiber towel. These are just the bulk ones that I order from Costco. And then I get this Wheatco, I don't know how to pronounce it, butcher block oil. So I use that. And basically I'm going to put a little bit on the cloth. It's really oily. And then I basically apply it to everything. I wait about 6 hours, and then I come back and I remove any excess oil. And then on some of the stuff that I use really heavily, I like to come back and apply a cream or a wax. And so right now I just have this board cream in. There's a wax that I use regularly, and I'll link it down in the description below, that I really like. I just don't happen to have any right now. You can usually get them at your local hardware store, your local grocery store, sometimes just depends. And so I'm going to apply 1 full coat of this on everything here. Come back in 6 or so hours once it's had a chance to soak in, wipe off any extra with a fresh microfiber towel, and then I'll come back with some of the stuff that I use pretty regularly and heavily, and apply an extra coat of the cream. And so I like to do this at least once, maybe twice a year if I really on top of it, but it's really good for all of your wood kitchen items to keep them nice and hydrated. You should never be keeping anything super wet. You don't want these to dry out and crack. Definitely never put any of your wood spoons or cutting boards in a dishwasher. And I really love using wood spoons and stuff like that. I just think once you have a good seasoning, a good coating on them, and you keep them nice, they last you for decades and decades and decades. Some of these I've had since college. I think some of them were actually my grandma's, and then when she passed away, I acquired quite a few of them. And just over the course of time, I've acquired them. I'm not opposed to thrifting a really beautiful wooden spoon, as long as when I get home, I clean it really well, and then I do a fresh oil and cream or wax. So I think this is one of the ones that I thrifted. I think I actually thrifted both of these, this set. I thought the wood design on these was so beautiful, and I thrifted them, and they looked pretty clean, but you just never know. So I like to just give them a really nice, intense cleaning with some good quality dish soap, and soak them and clean them really well. And then once they're dry, I do a fresh oil and a cream. And sometimes I'll do the oil 2 or 3 coats of it, if I don't really know the history of it. All of my stuff does get done at least once a year, sometimes twice. Like these are my salad forks, and you can tell that they've got a really nice coating still on them. Like this one I use all the time for pasta, so it looks a little bit dried up and crispy, so we're gonna take care of that. So it just kind of depends on your usage of it and how much you're cleaning it and washing it regularly that it keeps its coating. I think the general recommendation is typically that you do this once a month, but it's real life and nothing in my house is going to get done once a month, especially a task like this, which is something that you kind of need to set aside some time for. And then all these things are kind of out of service while it's drying until you wipe it off and get it ready again. And this butcher block oil is food grade, so it's safe for food to contact. I think that's really important when you get a butcher block oil. Make sure that it is like food grade safe. Same with this Boost Block. This is actually the Boost Block brand one. So just keep that in mind when you're looking to purchase something at the store. Okay, so I'm just gonna get working on this. I think we need some music. Last night I went with a couple girlfriends to the Taylor Swift Eras Tour, and I'm really feeling Taylor Swift right now, so we'll have Alexa, can you play Folklore by Taylor Swift?
Shuffling Folklore by Taylor Swift and similar tracks.
Okay, let's get
on
going.
Amazon Music.
Look at how beautiful and shiny. It really brings out the wood grain. What I do is I just keep dabbing this little bit of, oil, and I, keep coating these. And then I try not to have like too much excess liquid, so it's not just like serious amounts extra sitting on it. But I get enough so that it really saturates it, and then I'm gonna go back and wipe off any excess grease later. And then I just kind of like play it by ear and make sure that every surface is covered in a nice like shine. You can see that, it's really beautiful. And then I do try to go with the grain of the wood. I try to do that really specifically on the cutting board, so I try not to do just like big circle motions. This one is a whole bunch of pieces of wood put together, so it's a little bit harder to do that, but I just kind of keep that in mind. So I'm gonna let these sit for maybe like, 4 to 6 hours, kind of wait and see, check them. And then I'll wipe off with a fresh rag, microfiber towel, or anything that just doesn't leave like a ton of lint, So if you have a nice like potato sack or something that doesn't leave a lot of lint, you can use that as well. And then I'm gonna go through and just wipe off any extra, and then they should be ready to go. Okay. Okay, so the first step to making our mint wine was to go obviously harvest the mint. The variety of mint that I was growing this year was a mojito mint. It's just what I had available. Smokey had made hers with an English mint, which I think was a cross between some spearmint and peppermint or something like that. It doesn't really matter what variety of mint you use, just whatever you have is good for mint wine. And so I basically harvested it. I washed it underneath the sink in the colander, and then I chopped it up into, 3 to 5 inch pieces, and then I added that to my jar. I put in a lot more mint than you probably need, but Smokey said more mint the better, so I just figured I'd cut up as much as I had. Next, we added sugar, just regular traditional white granulated sugar. And then I poured over some water that I boiled on the stovetop and mixed that all in until all the sugar had dissolved. At this point, Smokey told me to go grab a lemon, so I did, and I peeled off the sticker, and then I just grabbed a regular peeler and started to peel off all of the lemon rind. She did tell me to be careful not to peel too deeply and to not remove any of the white, so just the lemon outer skin. And then I gathered up all those rinds and put them into the jar with the mint wine. Once all the rind had been removed and added to the wine, I sliced this lemon in half, and then I used my juicer to squeeze out all the juice from this one lemon, and then we are going to add our yeast.
Okay, now this is a sparkling yeast. It produces, okay?
And what is the E? You said you liked the E's.
I like this.
But like, what does that mean? That's just the type of...
Yeah, LALVIN calls their yeast the ECs, and then they are like a series of numbers.
Okay.
I happen to like this one for the mint better than anything else that I use, because it doesn't, you don't lose the flavor of the mint, but you still get your fermentation.
Sure.
But you do have to be careful because it gets active.
Okay.
Okay, so that just needs to sit while that's cooling. That will start working. Okay, now we're ready to bottle.
While we waited for our mint wine to cool, we went back and worked on our rhubarb wine, which we had started many weeks ago. And we lined up all of our hosing and got all of our bottles ready, and then we siphoned all of the rhubarb wine into our pre-prepared and sterilized bottles.
And you don't want a whole lot of air exposed to this at this point.
And then, like, how high does it?
No,
like,
well,
how high are you trying to
if
get?
you read the commercial books, they say you want to come clear up it here. Don't do it, because if it has got gas building up in it, give it a little bit of breathing space. Otherwise, you're going to have wine everywhere. Because it sparkles, it puts a lot of pressure on the glass.
Sure.
And it's more apt to shatter a beer bottle than what it is one of the other bottles, because
Okay.
the beer bottles don't have the real strong glass. The other thing, if you're working with beer bottles, you want to use these. You see there's no, it doesn't screw on.
Sure, I know what you mean.
Okay.
Okay.
Because it's a stronger glass. See, like that one's a screw on. Again, I'm not sure how tight that fit is going to be, because I just started using the crown caps in 18 or 19, and I'm just now really getting into that wine.
Okay.
So those are a couple of things, and you'll see this glass. See how thick this glass is?
Yeah, that one's thick.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are heavy duty.
They're heavy duty. They're made for this. Okay.
Look at how pretty it's already.
Isn't it?
It's really pretty.
Oh God, smell it.
Oh, it smells so good. I'm excited. After bottling the rhubarb wine, we went back to our mint wine making process and took our 2 packets of Irish black tea that we brewed, and we added that to our mint wine.
When this is tepid, and not 1 minute before, because you don't want to kill the yeast, then you can add this. And it's okay if this gets too cold, but it cannot be too hot.
Okay.
And by tepid, if you take your finger in here and you drop it here and you can feel it, that's too hot.
Okay.
And I would say, let it get too cold and then put your yeast in. And then all you're going to do is you're going to put your glove on it there, and nothing more for a week or 2.
Okay.
And I'll check on that. And you need to write down what we're doing.
Which is?
There's the wine. What kind of mint?
Mojito.
Hey guys.
Hi there.
Hey, how are you guys?
Not too bad right now.
We're distracted in the wine making process.
We've been tasting our way through the afternoon.
Okay. What do you feel? Do you fill in any of this
What's this
stuff?
in?
Winery producer.
Well, that's us, you and me.
Yeah. Smokey has been making wine for over 20 years, and she recommended that I get a journal, which I have since invested in, and I will be keeping track of all of our wines that we make together.
Okay? We got it.
That was so fun.
Cool.
2 weeks later, we are back at it with the mint wine, and we are doing our first rack, and we're basically trying to remove any of the dead yeast that has piled up at the bottom of the jar and start to clear it out. Pear wine. Next up in our winemaking endeavors is our pear wine. This is the one we're starting today. So like I said, Smokey ordered some bulk pears. So she is starting to peel them and get them prepped, and then we're gonna chop them up into small little bits and add them to a new jar. I am measuring out 1 pound of sugar while she does that, and then I'm gonna join her and help slice and peel and put all the pears into the jar. Before meeting Smokey, I had absolutely no experience making wine, but I've had so much fun learning from her over the past couple months, and I can't wait to continue to work on all these fun little projects on the side with her. It is a fun little hobby to just do something with your neighbor, and I've really enjoyed spending time with her. She's got just vast amounts of knowledge in gardening and winemaking and other homesteading type stuff. And so the last step for the day is we added the sugar on top of the pears, and then it's time to let that sit until tomorrow, when I'm going to boil some honey and water. All right, I hope you enjoyed watching our mint and pear winemaking. I will continue to update you guys over the next couple weeks and months on our winemaking process. We are having so much fun with it. But that is all for today. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you tune into the next couple videos, and we'll see you later.